All right, everybody, we're back with a brand new Cabral Concept. Today, I want to talk about the longevity molecule that you're losing with age. All of us are, but the good news is we can get it back, and I want to share with you exactly how to do that on the show. But before we get started, what is this longevity molecule? It is called nitric oxide. Here's the thing. It's one of the most important molecules for heart health, energy, blood flow, and performance, but it quietly declines as we age. Again, it happens to all of us, but we can do something to slow it down and improve it. When nitric oxide drops, everything from circulation to exercise tolerance to even sexual health can suffer. So today I want to explain what nitric oxide does, why it declines, and how to naturally increase it. Let's dive right in. The first thing to know is that nitric oxide, we'll just call it NO, so it is a signaling molecule. What does it signal? It signals vasodilation. What is vasodilation? Basically, relaxation. So it relaxes the blood vessels. It relaxes the body. We want this. And as you can tell, as we get older, if we remove this vasodilation, what's it going to lead to? Well, the opposite would be vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction, what happens there? High blood pressure, right? So automatically we know one of the underlying root causes, which again, conventional medicine never talks about, one of the root causes for high blood pressure as you age is vasoconstriction, but really it's the reverse. It is the lack of production for nitric oxide and vasodilation. So right out of the gates, how can we improve blood pressure? We can improve nitric oxide production. This is very clear in the scientific literature, but again, your conventional medicine doctor will never share that with you. Before I go on, because I'm going to be talking about a lot of medical-based things, I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatments, medical cures, medical diagnosis. There, I said it. Now we can move on. All right, so the other thing that nitric oxide does is if it vasodilates the blood vessels, it allows more to flow through and improves circulation. And with improved circulation, we get improved oxygenation. If we improve circulation and we improve oxygenation, what do we improve? Energy to the body and the brain. Everything now gets more oxygen. You are then full of life. That is the goal. Why does breath work so well? Breath work, I'll give you my top 10 in a moment. It improves nitric oxide production. That's one of the things that it does. It relaxes the body. It moves from sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, which I'm probably in right now, and it works it towards parasympathetic nervous system, rest and relaxation, which is where we want to be in. So all of that improves our cardiovascular system, our metabolic system, our hormones, and our cognitive-based health. So what are some of the key benefits? Talked about this a little bit, but blood flow and circulation supports healthy blood pressure, which is really all it's about, right? Here's the thing. When we get older, many people are going to get high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and high blood sugar. I don't want you to get those three because those can lead to more chances for cancer and Alzheimer's. So if you don't get those three, less likely to get the other two, and then there's really no reason, right, besides random things as to why you're not going to live until at least your late 80s, early 90s. That's the truth. That's legitimately the truth that medical doctors, and then again, it's not medical doctors' fault. I'm going to just say this. It's the American medical system. It has nothing to do with the doctors. It's what they're trained in, and it's what the system promotes. The system promotes run your blood work. If everything's not out of range, then nothing to do. When it goes out of range, you get put on a pharmaceutical. That's it. And you stay on those pharmaceuticals, and they mask symptoms, and then you have to go on another pharmaceutical, and you do this for the rest of your life, right? Okay, I don't want that for you because I want you to live a long life, but I also want you to live a healthy lifespan. So I want your years to be full of life as well. All right. So when we improve nitric oxide, though, we also improve performance, exercise performance and recovery. It also, especially for men, it improves erectile function and sexual health. So if there are any issues in that department, improve nitric oxide. It will dramatically change your overall sexual health. The next thing is this improves your endothelial lining of the blood vessels and arteries to and from the heart. That's going to improve overall cardiovascular health. There's just no doubt about that. All right. And then if you're dealing with brain fog, this is going to improve overall brain oxygenation and focus. So the bottom line is this: nitric oxide equals circulatory efficiency. It opens things up, allows micronutrients to flow, it allows oxygen to flow, and waste to come out. That's the truth, right? But circulation is also synonymous with better longevity, because if we can get those white blood cells in the body flowing very well to improve lymphatic drainage and all these great things, a healthy body can't be sick. A sick body is going to live longer. Sorry, a body that isn't sick is going to live longer. That is the truth. That's what we're all shooting for, right? None of us are perfect, but we're still going to shoot for doing our best. So let's go over now why nitric oxide declines with age, and then I'm going to share with you how to boost it. Okay, so nitric oxide synthase, NOS, activity becomes reduced. So we can't use nitric oxide and actually make those molecules as well as we could before. When we increase oxidative stress in life, and part of that happens with aging, we're going to reduce NO. Chronic inflammation reduces nitric oxide. Insulin resistance, so imbalanced blood sugar, which creates oxidative stress, reduces NO. I talked about it last week. I'll just give that a little shout out. Higher levels of uric acid. If you don't know what uric acid is, check it out at stephencabral.com/podcast. You can literally just type it in. That reduces nitric oxide. Another one, poor oral microbiome health. This is so important. If you have inflamed gums, if you have gingivitis, if you have any of these issues going on with the teeth and gums, we need to get that fixed. Here's another big one. I talked about this years ago in the Cabral Concept on a Friday review. Those people that use synthetic mouthwashes, you know what they are, decrease nitric oxide production, which means they increase their chances for blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. By the way, this is published research on PubMed. It's out there, right? So it's like, if your doctor says that's not true, literally, you can pull it up on your phone. Like, it's right there. Don't use the Listerines and the Scopes and all those other mouthwashes. They are horrible for your mouth microbiome. They increase anaerobes in the mouth, poor, basically anaerobic-based bacteria, and they're going to lower your nitric oxide production, which a lot of that happens in the cellular production, the capillaries of the mouth. All right. And the last one, sedentary lifestyle. There's almost nothing a sedentary lifestyle, doesn't hurt, right? It hurts everything. So what makes you non-sedentary? Literally getting 7,500 to 10,000 steps per day. That then becomes a non-sedentary lifestyle, whether you ever lift a weight or not. It's good to lift weights 2 times a week, maybe 3. Better to get the body moving 7,500 to 10,000 steps. I know a lot of people will disagree with that. Trust me, moving your body for an hour and a half a day to get those steps is one of the best things that you can do. Yes, I love strength training as well. Don't get me wrong, but I need to get people walking first, and then we can do strength training. Then we can add on the cardio in that order. All right, let's move on to the next one. So here are some signs that you might be low in nitric oxide. Do you have cold hands and do you have cold feet, right? Or one or the other. Sometimes even the tip of your nose. Yes, it can be low thyroid as well, but if you have low thyroid, you may also have low nitric oxide production. Poor exercise tolerance and slow recovery. Do you have elevated blood pressure? Is it the only reason that you might have low nitric oxide? No, absolutely not. Imbalances with magnesium, imbalances with sodium, potassium, high levels of cortisol. There's a lot of reasons, right? Elevated levels of fibrin in the blood. But remember, blood pressure is very easily solvable. It honestly is, because there's only about 12 major things. And I have a whole podcast just on blood pressure. I'll link that up today at stephencabral.com/3681. Why don't I do this? I'll link up the uric acid episode and I'll link up the blood pressure episode at stephencabral.com/3681. My team's able to do that. That would be amazing. Thank you, team. All right, so let's see. Elevated blood pressure, we spoke about. Erectile dysfunction. So if you are a male, it could be low testosterone. That is a possibility, right? But it very well could be low nitric oxide production. So they can also go hand in hand, because if you're only in your 30s, 40s, and I would even say 50s, and you have any type of erectile dysfunction, and you're looking at low levels potentially of testosterone, the same things that cause low testosterone too early in life could be the same things causing low nitric oxide. That is oxidative stress, not enough antioxidants in the diet, and all the different things that would improve blood flow as well. Cardiovascular, et cetera. I mean, like doing cardio, et cetera. Okay. So always look for the root cause. That's the truth. All right. If you have brain fog or low stamina, low endurance, and you're just not feeling it during a workout. You know, when you work out, or maybe back in the day, you kind of feel your muscles kind of pump up a little bit. If you're not feeling that anymore, could be poor circulation, poor nitric oxide. So what do we need to do in order to improve nitric oxide production? One part is that we need to open up the pathways of the body that can help make nitric oxide, right, and improve circulation. One is the L-arginine and L-citrulline pathway, right? That doesn't mean start supplementing with 3 to 5 grams of arginine per day, L-arginine. Because those people with the herpes virus, it could actually cause potentially an outbreak because they need to balance that with L-lysine. So we don't need to do this. We can do this through all natural means. I'm going to share with that in just a second. I'm going to give you the top 5, and then I'm going to speed run the last 5. So the next one is we can actually improve, and this is my first one, dietary nitrite, and that opens up the nitric oxide pathway. So what are some higher nitrite-based foods? Now, I am not saying that you should be eating bacon with, nitrates and nitrates added to it. I am not saying that, right? What I'm saying is let's look towards a more natural-based form, one that doesn't potentially cause cancer. The first one is leafy greens, typically dark leafy greens, things like spinach. Another one, arugula. Fantastic. So you might say, oh, well, oxalates and all these things. Remember, the majority of people can handle some each and every day. So a lot of these are higher oxalates, and I get it. But if you're taking in the proper amount of magnesium and your B vitamins and you're having kidney issues, it's probably never going to be an issue, right? And you also, if a little is good, a lot doesn't mean necessarily that it's better. Because a couple of my other favorites are celery and beets. Beets is probably going to beat all of them head to head only because it's right into the system. If you do 2 to 3 ounces of a beet-based shot, especially before a workout, it legitimately works. Like, it is legitimate. Now, beets aren't going to work for everybody, but if it works for you, might be one nice way. Keep in mind that if you use mouthwash, it is going to block this pathway. So please, no more synthetic mouthwashes. You can still do oil pulling with a sesame oil or some coconut oil or a nice blend. That's up to you. But none of the synthetics, the alcohol-based antibacterials, etc. All right. The next one is improve your L-citrulline pathways, and part of that is taking in the proper amount of protein. So I've talked about it kind of back and forth for years. I've always been a moderate protein proponent. Here's why. You get the best of all worlds. You get the best of health span. You feel great. You can put on muscle. You can work out. You can train, and you can recover, right? And then the other side is you can also benefit from the autophagy, lower mTOR in the morning, and work on the longevity-based things as well. Because you're taking high levels of protein, okay, feel good in the short term, but it could short circuit in the long term, right? It might not be best in the long term. So if we take a moderate approach, probably the smartest approach, right? So what does that mean? Most humans, 90 to 120 grams of protein per day. There are those people that say you need 1 gram per day. If your ultimate goal is body transformation, I agree with you. I totally agree. And I did it for the first half of my career. We were literally known for one thing, and that was helping people transform their body the fastest and safest way possible. And I'd done that since the late 90s through all of the early 2000s. We literally had a guarantee. Nobody else had it. If we don't help you achieve your goals, you literally get your money back. Like, that is it. Because we had this so dialed in one of our Boston clinics. The other one was functional medicine, which I developed after in integrative health. The first one was literally body transformation, nutrition, and exercise science. It's what we did. And it was amazing. It was amazing, right? But that's what we did. And so I'm not disagreeing with that. If your number one goal is body transformation, yes, you're going to do 1 gram per pound of body weight, but that's not a longevity goal. That's a body transformation goal. They're not the same. So I just want to state that there. Okay. But L-citrulline is another great one. So what's one that you don't have to use this, but one that we use that we love is citrulline malate. You need about 6 to 8 grams a day. So we just use it with a creatine-based product and trimethylglycine, which is a methyl donor that helps with inflammation. And it works fantastically well. We also use it with taurine. So that is called Advanced Cell Force. 1 serving a day, every day. You can mix it with your fruit smoothie or just take it on its own with water. I just mix mine with my strawberry daily nutritional support. Tastes delicious. I had a little bit of organic pea protein in there and we're off to the races, right? So, but you do what you feel works best for you, but improve the protein. And if you want to add a little supplement with that, you can add a supplement with that. That's up to you. All right, the next one is this. Number 3, reducing oxidative stress. We can do this by getting our 7 to 9 servings of fruit and veggies every day and our 30 plus grams of fiber. So again, longevity-based goals also work with our overall health goals and our body transformation. So what I shoot for all my clients is 10 to 12 grams of fiber per meal minimum. You have to work your way up. If you're doing 0 to 3 grams now, of course, you're not going to go to 10 to 12, but you can work your way up. There's no doubt about it. You can make it happen. Even just adding a little psyllium husk fiber can work great as well to a smoothie, super simple, or you can just mix it with water and consume it however you like to do it. All right. But a big part of reducing oxidative stress, yes, are 7 to 9 servings of brightly colored things every day, but olive oil's nice as well for antioxidants with oleic acid, but we need to improve our sleep. So the longer we're up, the longer we're going, the longer we're giving out energy, the more oxidative stress we create. Same with eating, right? The more we consume all of those things, the more oxidative stress. So we need to get our sleep. 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. 7 to 9 servings, fruits and veggies. All of those things, 7 to 9, reduce oxidative stress. All right. The next one, because oxidative stress destroys nitric oxide before it can even work, right? So it's like oxidative stress, free radicals, destroying nitric oxide in the body. Antioxidants squelch the oxidative stress, aka free radicals, that allows then the nitric oxide as a signaling molecule to do its work, to vasodilate. All right, the next one is exercise regularly, right? So here's the great thing. Not everybody's perfect, right? Some are better in certain areas with diet and nutrition and all those things. Some are better at exercise. So aerobic and interval training do wonders for nitric oxide production. Strength training is still important, but your interval training, phenomenal for producing more nitric oxide. Zone 2, great. Walking, great. Breathe through your nose. Keep your mouth closed. Breathe through your nose, out through your nose. Just keep the mouth closed the whole time. That'll work. For your interval training, of course, you might need to open your mouth, but the more we can breathe through the nose, doing that type of breath work, in through the nose, out through the nose, the better. And that's going to stimulate nitric oxide production. It's amazing. All right, the fifth one is this, then I'm going to speed run the last 5. So these first 5 are the most important. The last one is this, improving insulin sensitivity. So my favorite ways to do this with clients, intermittent fast. Stop eating, earlier the better at night. The more hours before you go to bed that you can stop eating, the better. Could you stop eating at 4 or 5? Be amazing. Very few people can. I'm not able to. I've got a family and I like to eat with my family. So I choose to eat with my family. But if I can stop eating by 6, that's my goal. And so then I don't start eating until 8 in the morning. For me, that's 14 hours. For you, you might be able to go till 10, right? You may be able to go 6 to 10. Okay. Intermittent fasting, amazing. Helps to lower overall blood sugar levels, as long as we're not producing high levels of cortisol in the morning, et cetera. Again, a stress metabolism test or labs like that will show you if you need to break that fast earlier. Okay. All right. The next part is this, strength training. So I talked about aerobics earlier. Strength training, not in the short term, is actually zone 2 cardio or walking will bring your blood sugar down in the short term. But in the long term, strength training and getting those muscle reservoirs open to take in glucose is one of the secrets that almost nobody talks about. Strength training is one of the secrets to health and longevity because, again, if you're going to take in food, carbohydrates and amino acids, they're going to, at least in some way, shape, or form, turn to glucose, which needs to be stored in the body, or it will be stored as body fat. So my recommendation, add strength training in at least twice a week. In an ideal world, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, in an ideal world. If you're someone who just does it on the weekend, totally get it. Saturday, Sunday, and do a Wednesday workout. It is a game changer for my clients who usually have a super busy week. I can't do anything except for the weekends. All right, try to get in, even if it's only a body weight workout for 20 minutes on a Wednesday, so much better than missing 5 days in a row. All right. So now I said this, that I would speed run the last 5. So I'm going to do that right now. Sunlight. Sunlight stimulates nitric oxide release in the skin, but not if you're slathered in sunscreen. So I'm not an advocate of getting burned from the sun. I think that's a really bad idea. I do believe that it leads to skin cancer. Now, on the other flip side, sun, all humans were meant to get varying degrees based on the tone of the skin, right? If you have darker skin, you're meant to get more sun. If you have lighter skin, you don't get as much. Like that's literally how it works with our own physiology. That's what Personomics is all about. The study of you. What do you need as an individual? You have, let's say, light blonde hair, very fair skin with freckles. You probably don't need a whole lot of sun, but you should still get sun. And if it's winter, then you're not gonna be able to get that sun, right? But in an ideal world, during the nicer months, you'll go out in shorts and a t-shirt or whatever it might be, and you'll try to get some sun. That's the ideal goal. How much do you need? Again, it depends on the skin tone, but 15 to 20 minutes should do it for probably half the population, and then other half the population, they might need more like 30 to 60 minutes. But we need sun. It's so amazing for nitric oxide production. I guess that was a longer, that wasn't quite a speed run. All right, next one, nasal breathing. Spoke about that. In an ideal world, we malt tape at night. We can breathe through our nose. Amazing. Some people have deviated septums. They can't breathe through, they can't malt tape all night. I totally get that as well. If you can, malt tape during the day. Try to breathe through your nose that way when you don't feel like you're suffocating or whatever it might be. Or in an ideal world, when you are walking, when you're doing things, just be more conscious of keeping the mouth closed, breathing through the nose, and then you can breathe out through the nose or out through the mouth. Your choice, but always in through the nose, relaxation, slow breath out. The breath out should be slower than the breath in. That is the key to the parasympathetic nervous system relaxation. All right, the next one, sauna use. Yes, sauna and heat improves endothelial function, which improves overall nitric oxide flow, right? Without a doubt. Okay. After this one, this is a what not to do. Do not smoke, which lowers nitric oxide. Do not vape, which lowers nitric oxide. So none of that. And I'll add in alcohol. Alcohol wasn't originally on my list, but alcohol creates more oxidative stress, which lowers nitric oxide. All right, the last one, optimizing nutrients. Again, I could talk on and on about all these great nutrients, coenzyme Q10 and fiber and all that. Three main ones that we know are crucial: zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B9, which is folate or methylfolate. Make sure you're getting those in your diet. Most people are, or they supplement at least a little bit with the daily activated multivitamin or the daily nutritional support. It's going to have all of those in there. Probably add a little extra magnesium, truthfully, at dinner, maybe some balanced zinc at dinner. Do you need an activated B complex? Maybe, maybe not. Again, that's what at-home lab testing is for. You can simply run the vitamin tox test. That's our starter kit, and that shows your vitamin and mineral levels. It's a great one to run, but that's up to you, of course. And all of those will help, again, with more nitric oxide production. I didn't give you any of the fancy ones. The citrulline malate I spoke about earlier, that's a more fancy one, but these are the foundation. Like, that's the essentials that we absolutely need. So no need, in my opinion, to go overboard, and also no need to be overly worried about nitric oxide declining with age, because now we know how it declines and what we can do to rebalance the body. That knowledge is power. Go out there, make those changes just one by one. You don't need to overdo it, and you will see the difference. Once you start to see the difference, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And as always, do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. It's at episode StephenCabral.com/3681 for all those show notes. And I'll put in those additional podcasts as well. Take care, buddy. I'll talk with you tomorrow.